The movie named Enough from 2002 starts and we see Slim, who works as a waitress at a busy diner alongside her close friend Ginny. Her daily routine is pretty uneventful until one day, a man named Robbie walks in and tries to charm her. Just as Slim is about to respond, another man, Mitch Hiller, steps in. Mitch reveals that Robbie had made a bet the previous day, wagering $200 that he could convince Slim to go out with him. With a few intimidating words and a threatening stance, Mitch scares Robbie off. Slim and Ginny find his boldness appealing, and from that moment, a connection forms between Slim and Mitch, eventually leading them to marriage. At their wedding reception, Ginny enjoys a dance with Joe, Slim's ex-boyfriend. Slim notices and gives her approval with a small gesture. As a wedding gift, her boss, Phil, hands her a large sum of money. Phil has always been a father figure to Slim, given that she grew up without one. Mitch, who works in the construction business, soon buys them a luxurious home in Los Angeles, and their life together seems perfect. Their happiness reaches a new level when they welcome their baby girl, Gracie, into the world. Mitch receives a phone call. When Slim asks about it, he casually dismisses it as work-related. At first, their married life appears smooth, but cracks start to show over time. Years later, Slim attempts to rekindle their romance, but Mitch brushes her off, claiming he needs to work. When he steps away, his phone rings repeatedly, and curiosity gets the best of Slim. She dials the number back, only to uncover a devastating truth. Mitch has been unfaithful. When she confronts him, he apologizes and embraces her, making it seem like a mistake. However, the betrayal doesn't end there. Slim soon notices the scent of another woman's perfume on him, confirming that his affairs are ongoing. When she demands an explanation, Mitch coldly responds that men have different needs. Realizing she can't ignore the truth any longer, Slim finally decides to stand her ground. But instead of remorse, Mitch reacts with anger. Without warning, he slaps her across the face and then punches her. As she reels from the shock, he taunts her, making it clear that he holds all the power. He even openly admits to his infidelity, declaring that he'll continue visiting his mistress and warning Slim not to try leaving him. His words are more than a demand, they're a threat. The next day, Slim visits Mitch's mother, who immediately notices the bruise on her face. Instead of showing concern, she questions what Slim did to provoke Mitch. The response leaves Slim speechless. Later, she confides in Ginny, who insists that she should go to the police and escape. However, Slim hesitates. She doesn't want her daughter's father to end up behind bars. That evening, Mitch grows suspicious after learning about Slim's visit to his mother. His words take on a more menacing tone, warning her that things could get much worse. Desperate for help, Slim discreetly seeks advice from the police. However, she's informed that since a child is involved, she'll have to go through family court and prove that Mitch is a danger to Gracie. The realization hits her, she is on her own. Determined to break free, Slim devises a plan. Late at night, while Mitch is asleep, she gathers Gracie and prepares to escape. Waiting outside are Phil, Ginny, and a trusted friend, ready to help. Just as she's about to slip away, Mitch suddenly appears. He grabs her by the hair and violently drags her back. The silence of the night shatters as the struggle inside the house escalates, alerting her friends that something is terribly wrong. Phil and the others rush inside, but Mitch pulls a gun on them. Thinking quickly, Phil picks up Gracie, forcing Mitch to lower his weapon. With no time to waste, they grab Slim and make a run for it. Once on the road, they struggle to figure out where to go. Slim, feeling intense pain in her ribs from the earlier attack, realizes she might be seriously injured. Since Mitch knows where all of them live, staying with friends isn't an option. They decide on a hotel, but when Slim tries to pay, her card gets declined. Mitch has frozen her accounts. With no access to money, she's forced to stay in a cheap motel, hoping to stay under the radar. That hope is short-lived. Later that night, Slim's phone rings. It's Mitch. Somehow, he's already found her location and is outside trying to break in. Thinking fast, Slim grabs Gracie and sneaks out through the back door. Mitch spots them and chases after them furiously, but they manage to catch a bus and escape just in time. With Phil's help, Slim and Gracie board a flight to Seattle, desperate to escape Mitch's reach. Seattle isn't just any city for Slim, it's where her ex-boyfriend and trusted friend, Joe, lives. Despite their romantic history, Joe has always been a steady presence in her life, someone she could rely on. When she reaches out to him, he doesn't hesitate to take them in, offering them a safe place to stay while they figure out their next move. For a brief moment, it seems like they can finally breathe. But that sense of safety is shattered when a sudden knock at the door sends Slim into high alert. She immediately grabs Gracie and hides, her heart pounding as Joe cautiously opens the door. Standing outside is a man claiming to be an FBI agent investigating Gracie's supposed kidnapping. Before Joe can question them further, two more men step forward, forcing their way inside. Something doesn't add up. Joe asks for a warrant, but they don't provide one. His suspicion sharpens. Real FBI agents wouldn't ignore such a request. When he attempts to call the police, one of the men quickly snatches the phone from his hands. They tear through the house, opening closets, checking under furniture, and searching every possible hiding spot. But Slim and Gracie remain well hidden, and after a tense few minutes, the men come up empty. Frustrated, they resort to threats. One of them steps closer to Joe, pressing a knife against his side and warning him not to interfere with their business. Before leaving, another man, clearly enjoying the act of intimidation, drags his knife across Joe's sofa, tearing through the fabric just to make a point. Later that night, the phone rings, breaking the tense silence in the house. Joe answers, and on the other end is Mitch. His voice is low and threatening as he makes it clear that he knows Slim is there. He warns Joe not to get involved, or else he'll regret it. Hearing this, Slim feels a deep sense of guilt. Joe didn't ask for any of this, yet now he's being targeted because of her. She realizes that staying in Seattle isn't an option, it's too dangerous for everyone involved. With no other choice, she decides to take another risk, traveling to San Francisco to seek help from the one person she never thought she'd turn to, her estranged father, Jupiter. Jupiter had walked out of her life when she was just 2 years old. Growing up, she had written him countless letters, hoping for even the smallest acknowledgement. But he never responded. Now, standing face to face with him, she is met with the same coldness she had always feared. He barely looks at her before assuming she's just another person trying to take advantage of his wealth. Over the years, many had tried. Jupiter was well known for having multiple children due to his reckless lifestyle. Slim had hoped, even if just a little, that he would see her and care. But it's clear he doesn't. Disappointed yet unsurprised, Slim and Gracie leave. They end up in Michigan, where Phil's connections arrange for them to stay in a group home. To protect themselves, Slim takes on a new identity, going by the name Aaron. It's yet another reinvention, another attempt to stay one step ahead of Mitch. Days later, a letter arrives at her new address. Inside is money, sent by Jupiter. Though he had initially dismissed her, something must have changed his mind. Unbeknownst to Slim, Mitch's men had confronted Jupiter, warning him to stay away from his daughter. That encounter, while terrifying, made him realize that if Mitch was this determined to find her, Slim must truly be in danger. With this, she starts a new life, setting up a home for herself and Gracie. She warns her daughter never to call her Slim again to keep up their disguise. One day, Slim travels far from home to use a payphone and contacts Mitch's mother. Gracie still misses her father, so Slim hesitantly allows her to talk to him. But Mitch has a plan. He traces the call with the help of Robbie, the corrupt cop from the diner. It turns out Mitch and Robbie were running a scam from the start, and Slim was meant to be a victim before Mitch decided to marry her instead. Now, Robbie is under pressure to find Slim or face Mitch's wrath. Joe visits Slim and Gracie for a short stay, but Robbie spots them together and discovers where they are hiding. After Joe leaves, Slim returns home, only to find Mitch inside, waiting for her. Coldly, he tells her that if he can't have her, no one can. As Mitch attacks Slim, Gracie watches in horror from the hallway. Desperate to protect her mom, she runs up and yanks his hair, but he shoves her aside. Seizing the moment, Slim uses the hidden pepper spray in her watch to blind him, grabs Gracie, and bolts out of the house. She quickly locks Mitch inside using the security measures she had set up earlier and speeds off. However, she soon realizes they're being followed. Pulling into an alley, she changes into a disguise, but before she can leave, Robbie suddenly knocks on her window. Slim is stunned, realizing he had been working with Mitch all along. She immediately speeds away, with Robbie trying to force her to stop. Gracie sobs, begging for the chaos to end, but Slim stays focused. Using her knowledge of the area, she tricks Robbie into taking a route that leads him onto a bridge with a collapsing section. His SUV is wrecked, while Slim's car makes it through. She then drives to a hidden barn, where she had stashed another getaway vehicle. As Gracie sits in shock, Slim switches into a new wig and identity, determined to stay one step ahead. Later, she meets with a lawyer, hoping for legal protection, but the news isn't good. Since she never filed reports against Mitch, it's too late to press charges. Worse, the upcoming custody battle is just a trap. Mitch's real goal is to find her and have her eliminated. Realizing she can't rely on the legal system, Slim takes matters into her own hands. She leaves Gracie with Ginny, giving only vague answers about when she'll return, hinting at her secret plan. Determined to fight back, Slim reaches out to Jupiter, asking him to find someone who looks like her. She intends to use a body double as a decoy in San Francisco. Later, while shopping, one of Mitch's men follows her, but she has already planned for this. The double leads him to an airport, tricking him into believing she's leaving town, while Slim stays behind to execute her real plan. That night, she sneaks into Mitch's house while he's with another woman. Unnoticed, she watches from above, gathering intel on his routine. The next day, once he leaves, she gets to work, disabling security cameras, cutting off phone signals, hiding all the knives, and tampering with his guns. She even plants fake letters in his cupboard, making it look like they had planned to meet for a custody discussion. With everything in place, she waits in the shadows, ready for the final confrontation. When Mitch returns, he senses something is wrong. His house is dark, but his neighbors still have power. He reaches for his gun, only to find it missing. Panicked, he tries calling 911, but the phone lines are dead. Then, Slim steps out of the darkness, revealing herself. Mitch laughs, mocking her for thinking she can fight him. But Slim doesn't hesitate. She lands the first strike, calling him a coward who only fights when the other person is defenseless. Mitch retaliates, hitting her hard, but Slim refuses to stay down. Using her newly learned self-defense skills, she dodges his attacks and counters with precise blows. She reminds him that everything has been carefully set up. If he dies, it'll look like self-defense. Mitch, bloodied and furious, lunges at her, attempting to strangle her. This time, Slim is ready. She reverses his grip and slams him into a table, knocking him out. As she stands over his unconscious body, she prepares to finish him off but hesitates. Instead, she calls Ginny, admitting she can't go through with it. But before she can leave, Mitch suddenly wakes up and smashes a lamp over her head. Slim falls, pretending to be unconscious. The moment he moves in to finish her off, she springs up, using all her strength to overpower him. With one final, powerful kick, she sends him crashing over the edge, sealing his fate. After disposing of any evidence, Slim is met by the police, who acknowledge that she is one of the lucky ones to have escaped domestic abuse. Later, at the airport, Slim and Gracie reunite in an emotional embrace. Finally free from Mitch's grip, they head to Seattle, where Joe welcomes them into his home. Together, they begin a new chapter, one filled with hope, safety, and a future without fear.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.